Yo, what's up YouTube? How y'all doing? My name is Combo and welcome to another episode of my podcast Overtime. And today we have a very, very special guest. We have the very, very talented Legday. How are you, man?
I'm pretty good. I only just heard your podcast name for the first time there, because you always only refer to it as my podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never seen the name.
Yeah, Overtime.
I've never seen it called Overtime. I'm just like, yeah, that's Combo's podcast.
Yeah.
It's an enigma, untitled podcast project.
No, I actually got told that Stylosa was supposed to do a podcast called Overtime. He did like an announcement called my podcast called Overtime, but then he never made one single episode because he just like ended it, but he never deleted the video. And then I was like, yo, I need podcast name. And so many people requested Overtime. I was like, yo, that's a dope name. How do you find it? And he's like, I don't know. I just thought thought about it. And then one of my friends messaged me like, bro, like Stylosa had a podcast named Overtime, right? But but he didn't upload it though, so like yeah, I think he just had
you can't have squatters' rights on a concept you never followed through.
Exactly, and I think it's a pretty cool name. It fits Overwatch perfectly. So yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Might be a little bit more hectic for podcast feel. So if you put like overtime music behind the entire thing, so that every question feels really stressful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, how's life, man? How's life nowadays?
Pretty good. It's actually quite busy. Luckily, I've got a little bit less on my plate now between contender seasons, but I'm still like streaming every day, trying to put out 1 or 2 videos a week and doing our companion streams. So sleep is a constantly elusive friend.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, tier 2 by the way. Like, are you excited for next season?
Oh, I'm pretty excited for next season. I think we got some cool things in the works, and I'm really glad that Blizzard is still considering options for Gauntlet. Like,
Ooh, okay.
no one can guarantee that it's still going to happen, because obviously the world right now is kind of on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But it's far enough in the future that there are like preliminary things happening that are like, hey, if we can find a venue that we can all get to from across the world, and if it might be without an audience, like the Korean Contenders lands are.
Yeah.
But hopefully we find a way that we can follow through on those plans. But I don't want to guarantee anything for your tier 2 hungry viewers,
No,
because
that's fine.
we may end up being disappointed if COVID just remains such a hot button issue.
Yeah, I would be. It would be so fun to see like 3 or like especially 2 of the most dominant teams in Contenders, like British Hurricane, one of the most amazing teams we had in Contenders, like won every single like stage Contenders, whatever you want to call it, like finals. And then you have like Team Doge and Third Impact. Like imagine some of those clashes. It would be insane to finally see like, because I feel like if you go back to last year's Gauntlet, I think it was, you had like the EU which teams? I think it was British Hurricane, wasn't it?
We sent HSL.
HSL, yeah, HSL, yeah.
They did regrettably.
Yeah, yeah, and I think British Hurricane is a lot better than that HSL roster. Like no hate to HSL, but I feel like the British Hurricane roster that we have is like immense, and I feel like a lot of them are insanely talented players.
There's a reason that British Hurricane are like, they haven't dropped a match throughout the entirety of the beginning of 2020.
Yeah,
Like we're 6 months in now, and they're still waiting for that first L. So British Hurricane are pretty ironclad right now. And like you said, I want them to face off against people like Third Impact, because we now know publicly that Third Impact have been scrimming the San Francisco Shock.
yeah,
Probably in favor of some OWL teams. So they're like, no. We'll leave Boston. We'll go scrim TI. Like they are at the owl caliber of scrims at least.
100%, yeah.
So it'd be cool to see the power levels there.
Yeah, I definitely feel like some of the Contenders teams, like if you put like sadly with Doge, Team Doge, OG is underage, and then you have British Hurricane, you have Sparker, yeah, he's underage as well.
Sparker is quite young, just cracking open a cold one with the boys.
Yeah, it's fine, don't worry, right. But that's what I mean. Like, imagine if you had like the full British Hurricane, like, and they put it into Overwatch League. I think that team will definitely be like top 8, especially NA. I think it will be like top 5 NA at least. Like, I feel like the team, like some of those like top Contenders teams are so strong, which is why Overwatch League teams are opting to scrim top Contenders teams and not simple bottom Overwatch League teams.
Yeah, I think a load of East Coast teams as well are like, Yeah, we're just gonna scream British Hurricane because we get the most out of that
Yeah, I heard
because
that.
they slap us about a little bit. And right now, a lot of teams are kind of languishing.
Mm.
I think it is somewhat unfair on a lot of our teams though. They have to deal with kind of shorter turnarounds in the coaching
Yeah.
structure. Although contenders players have also had to follow the hero pool, which is being somewhat confusing, I think, for teams in the first run around of the season. But I think it's going to get a little bit more clear as we go in towards season two where the hero pools are going to be at, because we're probably going to be able to determine them on a just contenders basis so that
Mm.
it matches the contenders schedule better. Because previously, like, our schedule was happening and we had to just match what Owl was doing. So often that wasn't the ideal schedule for contenders. But once Owl finishes up and contenders keeps going, then it's going to be a little bit more clear cut.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that. But let's come back a little bit about Overwatch League and Tier Two later because have those as points. But we can start a little about from the beginning. How did you get into Overwatch and how did you get into casting?
Uh, Overwatch, I got into. I was a streamer for
Oh, okay.
an MMO called Star Wars: The Old Republic. I know, Blizzard. Don't hit me. It wasn't WoW. I was too much of a Star Wars nerd. But I was streaming that, and one of the streamers I was friends with at the time had access to a closed beta of Overwatch. So I watched her streams a little bit, and she got me into it. And I kind of just I was very good at the game because a lot of people were coming from FPS games, but I was coming from MMOs where I was a raid leader as a tank, and that meant I intrinsically understood Reinhardt quite a bit better than a lot of other FPS people who were coming in. So, like, compared to other tanks, I had a little bit of a significant advantage. And everyone feels like, hey, I'm good at this game. I'm going to play that a lot. So I kind of had that for a while. I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm good at this. I'm going to keep playing this. I couldn't aim to save my life. I could, I couldn't hit the side of a barn with McCree at that point. My aim was so bad. I hadn't played an FPS since like maybe Modern Warfare 2 on my Xbox
Okay.
360. But yeah, Overwatch was a natural transition from MMOs. Like, it is a melting pot from so many different areas. Like, we've got MOBA players, we've got Counter Strike players, we've got TF2 players, and of course, the MMO refugees like me.
Yeah, like I feel like when I also got into Overwatch, the first thing I would do is go tank because I didn't need to aim. Because
Yeah,
yeah, I came from like not I came kind of from Minecraft with like Dante and stuff because I was like I play with on the same stuff like he was. I was familiar with Dante and I'd known him and Samido as well. And then before that, I'd been playing FIFA and COD and GTA, so I had no clue how to aim. So I was just like there like playing. I found out like which is the easiest hero to play without aim. Boom, tank. So yeah, pretty.
Reinhardt, Winston,
Yep,
still good with
exactly.
that aim.
Yeah. Um, but if you talk about casting, how do you get into casting? Like, did you quit pro player and then become caster? Was it like, was it that simple, or was it like more like you always had
They
like
were
this?
kind of
Yeah.
they were kind of at the same time, to be
Ah,
honest.
okay.
I probably did casting a little bit earlier without realizing it. So I only basically became aware of what casting was once I really got into Overwatch because I wanted to get better at the game. So I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, but I want to min max. So I went to watch like the Gosu weeklies. I'm like, I'm gonna watch what the best players in the world are doing, then I'm gonna try and copy that and iterate on their styles in my own way. And then I managed to be able to sort of like copy their styles. Sorry, I just heard I
That's
just
fine.
heard everyone come into my house, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Am I about to get interrupted?" I don't know. Could be, but that was when I heard ZP and Hex casting, and I was like, "Oh wow, like this is pretty cool. I like the show that these guys are putting on." And being a streamer, I was fairly confident just talking in front of a cyber audience. And I kind of got into casting just because I liked how ZP and Hex did it. In that I used to play a lot of quick play with my buddies because I had competitive anxiety. I would just like place, I'd like place high, and then I was like, yeah, I'm done now. I'm not touching that. I'm just gonna go and try and play my best in scrims and quick play. And when my buddy's stack was too big, when they had all 6 people and I couldn't get into that stack until one of them left, I would go and spectate the game, and I would essentially speed type the casting into the match chat.
Oh, okay.
That I was doing. It was like casting for deaf people. And then that kind of transferred over to when we were doing pugs with my buddies. When I had to rotate out because there were like 13 or more people, I would turn on my stream and I would just like talk about the game, essentially like do the laziest version of a cast of it. And I finally actually did a proper cast with Kara from Ex Oblivione.
Oh, okay.
This was about a year later. I was an aspiring sort of like, hey, tier 3, tier 4 player. And Kara's team with Srown, if you know him, what were they called? Last Rites, actually. They were the
I think I know
sponsored
what
team
team it
that
is, yeah.
won Lenovo Legion in Budapest. Their team and my team with Cherish and Razor, called Wu-Tang Clan, were the top 2 teams in the Overwatch University League in Europe. And they were significantly better than us. I'm not going to have any illusions about that. But what we'd do is we'd play in the EU bracket in the day. And then Kara and I would stay up into the night and we'd cast the NA side of the tournament. And I had to get into play-by-play casting rather than color what I am now from that, because Kara's mum is not a fan of him talking late at night. So he was essentially like, whisper casting ASMR.
Okay.
This is what's going on.
And
I was trying to bring the hype because my parents are a lot more chill and they're just like, yeah, he's shouting at 3 a.m. He's a dick, but we don't care. And I just enjoyed that experience so much. I just kept pursuing more ways to cast.
Yeah, that's good. It's yeah, everybody starts somewhere, and that's pretty interesting. How you started, and like when you got that offer from like Contenders, what was going through your mind? Like, were you like instantly like, yes, I'm gonna take this? Because like, didn't you like when you first got offered, didn't you also move straight away, or like didn't you have to move as well?
The first thing that was on my mind when I got offered Contenders was, I'm being pranked.
Okay.
The amount of cross-referencing I had to do between because it struck me as weird because Yob, who now works in Twitch partnerships, but at the time was working for Blizzard's esport department in Europe, came into my Twitch chat while I was just streaming some quick play and was like, "Hey, do you have a business email?" I was like, "No." So, I literally made a business email between rounds of quick play, which you can now find in my Twitter bio if you want to offer me some work, smile. And the first email I got on that was from, well, allegedly Blizzard. So, and I was trying to cross. I was like, "Is Yob a real person? Does he work for Blizzard? Is this a legitimate offer?" And at the time, I was suffering from mad travel anxiety, so it was very difficult for me to try and comprehend.
Yeah.
But like, it was a dream job offer, so I kind of had to take it. And then I think maybe a month later, I was flying out to Kiev, Ukraine, to go to the studio there with a bunch of people that I'd never met, and I was flying alone because I was going a lot earlier. And it's probably too personal a story for this, but it was not a pleasant day when I took that flight because, man, I have never been more anxious in life.
Yeah. You know, yeah, I don't have like I've had travel anxiety of different times. For example, the first time I went to US, I was very scared of like the plane falling apart in the middle of the ocean, and we'd be like the middle of the middle, like when we cross over England or over Iceland. You have like this ocean before like there's miles and miles of ocean. So if we would crash, how we would be like, my first thought was, fuck, if we're gonna crash, I'm gonna get eaten by a shark. That was like my first thing. So I was so scared to travel, and for a while I was, but then when you get used to it, it's better. But I'm still a little bit scared of planes. I'm not gonna lie, but you get used to it after a while.
I recommend a strong library of podcasts to drown out the voices. It helps me.
Okay. I'll take that on a recommendation for sure. So yeah, we can actually talk about Contenders now. So casting Contenders, how has it been for you?
Casting Contenders has been a ride, that much is for sure. It's been really, really fun. I've tried to ingrain myself in deeply in the scene as possible because it didn't take long at all for me to start really caring about these players and
Yeah.
caring about sort of my part in the Overwatch ecosystem of trying. I I am a caster, but I tend to think of my role as a lot less glamorous and a lot more utilitarian. Is that I'm a salesman to
Yeah.
try and sell these players to fans into Overwatch League. So that's really how I approach my job as the person who's trying to make these players seem more attractive on top of a gameplay that everyone can see quite easily.
Mm.
So I casting Contenders has been a bit tumultuous because, of course, I was casting with Jaws until this year, and Jaws got brought up to Overwatch League, which is fantastic for him because he's like super talented,
Yeah.
and everyone there is loving him. It kind of left me like,
Yeah, I
what
know
do
what
I
you mean.
do? But I'm super happy because I was going to actually swap over to play-by-play casting, but I told Blizzard like I'm happy to stay on as a color caster instead of a play-by-play if I get this caster. And I was like, I want to cast with Lemon because I have a lot of faith in Lemon. I think she's a really good caster,
Oh, she is
and
for
I
sure.
was really excited to potentially work with her. And so sorry, Hurix, I kind of stole your partner, but maybe something else would have happened if they were like, no, you can't partner with Lemon, so we'll have to swap you over to play by play. But I'm really glad that Blizzard were like, okay, you want to cast a Lemon, we'll bring her on board, and they had a lot of faith in who I wanted to cast with.
Yeah, yeah, you guys are a really good casting team. I would say it's fun seeing you guys both because you guys mix very good. Like you fill each other out very good, so it's very fun to see. And since we're talking about this casting, one of the questions were actually if you could go back in time and cast one match, any match, what match and why? And this is from Jay, by the way.
Hmm. Any match.
Mm.
That is a very interesting question. It's kind of strange because a lot of the time my favorite matches are determined by the casting moments within them. It just sort of comes with a territory
Yeah.
that I like a match because I like a cast that went with it. If I could cast, I think I would choose to cast the show match at the first Contenders LAN we did in Poland
Ooh,
between
okay.
Fusion Union and British Hurricane. So I was on the desk for that, and being on the desk was fun, but there was a potential I could have cast about with ZP, and like I alluded to earlier, ZP was kind of like the guy who got me into casting alongside Hex. So I think
Yeah.
that would have been a really cool experience to have casted that one with ZP.
Yeah, I still remember the match. It was a fun match. I still like when you put EU versus NA contenders because then like you have this chat or Twitter going mental like who's gonna be best EU or NA, and like sometimes or the past few times NA has been pretty good, but you also have to remember that a lot of the NA players, no, a lot of the NA teams are filled with EU players because
Oh yeah,
NA has a bigger potential to get picked up than EU. I feel like you rarely see players get picked up straight from EU contenders. There's often EU players from NA teams that gets picked up. Um, so I see a lot of players making the change to NA now. Uh, it's exciting, but I also feel a little bit bad for the people who, for example, are from Saudi Arabia who can't play NA and has to play in EU, and then the scouting in EU is just not as good as it is in NA. Um, I feel a little bit like sad for people who can't play NA. But you know, hopefully, more and more players get picked up because I feel like EU has a huge potential with players for sure, especially this season. So, yeah,
yeah. With KSA coming from Saudi Arabia as well, it's definitely good to have the representation there,
mm,
so that can kind of advocate
yeah,
for well, like his continued existence and performance is an advocation for Middle Eastern Overwatch
yeah,
in particular. So I'm glad that he's doing fairly well. I think Vancouver Times have surprised a lot of people. Like uh, they got maybe 20 seconds worth of mocking from people when they lost their first game who didn't realize that this was a team that has only just come together and they're up against Overwatch League teams which have been scrumming together for 6 months,
mm,
and now they've just gone and stomped on the Dallas Fuel's decks, and they're like, And what, bitch?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm also very happy to have the first Norwegian player in Overwatch League, Onigod. Really happy. And I hope also players like DCOD also gets picked up
Decod's
soon.
definitely gonna get there.
Yeah,
I have no doubt in my mind.
Not me neither. Yeah, if we actually since we're talking a little about players, from this season, let's do one NA team and one EU team. What would your contenders role star candidates be for each role? Or like, okay, let's do it a little bit easier. What would your contenders role star team be for EU, and what would it be for NA?
Oh,
It's like, yeah. So what would be like your contenders team, if we can say that, from EU and NA?
That's a wide berth of a question.
Exactly.
Let's think.
Like on EU, I feel like it's a little bit easier because you can have a lot of the British Hurricane players. But on NA,
Yeah.
you have to pick between like you have Second Win who did really well, and then you have Team Doge and Third Impact who are like fighting against each other all the time. But let's not have Kevster only got in since they got picked up.
Okay, let's start with NA since that's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I think on NA, I would start with Salieri, Contenders winning main tank. That's a good start for the role star squad. And I'd put them with Higan from Second Wind.
I agree.
Reform King.
He's so good on that Sigma. He's immense. Yeah, he's insane. So
I think that those two would be a really solid start for the tank role stars. And then when we look forward onto DPS, I guess we can divide it classically into both hit scan and projectile DPS.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd take both the Third Impact guys. I think Razor is a really good upcoming talent that actually has a huge amount of potential as Torbjorn, as Genji, as Hanzo, as Vara in particular. So if I'm looking for a projectile DPS and I don't even deflect to hit scan, I'm going for Razor on that one. And Tayo is
insane.
Absolutely nutty.
Yeah,
like he has got the cracked aim, and it's really good to see some representation for Japanese Overwatch as well. We used to have, I believe, Cyclops Gaming and Jupiter in Pacific for Japan, but I don't think that happened in Season 1 of 2020. And on supports...
That's a hard one in my opinion.
You got to have OG.
For sure.
OG is just a consistently brilliant support player that knocked Envy out of Gauntlet with XL2 and then won it all as Doge or as a member of Team Envy for a short while as well. But when it comes to flex support,
like the thing is, like with main support, I feel like because Solid and OG are both friends of mine. Like they aren't like I'm not like best friends with them, but both of them started out with my old team in OD. And then Solid went to Chicken Contenders, yeah. And OG went with Bermuda, I think, or some other team. And then I've been rooting for them both. And I remember one of my assistant coaches back in the day said, "Yo, Combo, pick this OG kid up before someone else team's pick him up." But sadly, he got picked up like when we wanted him. He wanted to join another team. But I remember this coach saying, "Combo, trust me. When this guy turns 18, he will be in Overwatch League the first day." But I feel like
not wrong.
Yeah, he's so talented. But I also feel like Solak has impressed so many. I feel like it's a bit. I feel like people underrate him. Like when they think about the best main support in Contenders NA, they say like, "Oh, easy, OG." Sure, OG is probably the best one, but I feel like Solak is so has impressed so many this season as well. And same with I think that's the problem with flex support as well. You have Afox, who of course won and has been in Tier 2 for ages and deserves Overwatch League. And then you have Iris, I think you pronounce it. Probably one of the most...
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of the most...
It's been a consistent source of friction within the casting team. We've actually asked the managers on several different occasions and got several different answers as to how to pronounce his name. But in the end, he said he doesn't care.
Yeah. Because I feel like his mechanics are some of the most raw mechanical talent I've seen. Like, his mechanics are insane on flex support. But yeah, I honestly couldn't choose. But like, what would you choose between Avox and Iris?
I think the higher mechanical gap is in favor of Eris, but Avox, I think in a team environment, Avox is more valuable though as a veteran presence.
Yeah.
So like as a role star, I would go for Eris, but if I was building a team, I'd probably go for Avox.
All right, that's a really good NA Contenders team. I feel like there's like some spots where like it's kind of clear, and then some spots where are really close. But I think on EU it's gonna be even harder though, because like sure you can
EU
pick
is so weird.
yeah, because you can pick like the whole British Hurricane roster, but I feel like there's some players on other teams that's also been just insane and very important to them. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So what
I
was
think it's got to be the British Hurricane tank line, like
100%?
Morph and
Yeah,
Hardy.
I agree with that.
They are a cut above everyone else
Agreed.
in EU contenders at the moment. I think that it's hard to to argue with that one.
Hmm.
When I go for DPS, part of me wants to say Linu, but he's retired now.
Yeah, he was honestly though. He impressed me a ton. He was insane this season when he got picked up. Like when he got picked up, I was like, Leonard, that like because he's a friend of mine. And I was like, Leonard, that's an interesting pick, or like pickup. I'm excited to see how this goes. And he just popped off. And he same with Cass also said that one of the main surprises for him this season was Linu coming in and just completely dominating. Yeah, I think that's a fair shout.
Yeah, Linu was just really, really, really surprising.
Yeah.
As a DPS to me. But you know what? Because Linu has backed away.
Yeah.
Let's think other hit scan DPS.
You
it's
have
kind of
you have like
we have
Seymour, sure,
Sparker.
yeah.
We have Sparker. We have Sycamore. We have Jonah.
But
Jonah had a really good season run, but his playoffs was less impressive.
yeah, and Sika, he's insanely talented mechanically, but he didn't have the best run with Shoes Money Crew or Share Cold. Like they did a lot of like mistakes, and sure he did pretty good, but I still don't feel like he's up there in the best of the best, or he's up there with the best of best hit scans. But I don't think he had the best performance, and I think that might be because he changed teams mid-season, and like it could have been a lot of things. But I feel like it would be between Jonah, Linu, and Sparker. But since Linu retired, it's between Sparker and Jonah.
I think just on playoffs performance, you've got to give it to Sparker.
Yeah.
I think Jonah was a lot better in the weak stages than he was in the playoffs, unfortunately. Like we saw a lot of low impact Sombra play from Young and Beautiful. Their run was actually quite disappointing in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Like to crash out in what was it, like 5th or 6th?
Yeah, I think it was 5th, 6th. One of them two.
Was not ideal, but hear me out here for projectile DPS. Cloud.
I think I agree. I feel like Dan has been good, but I think Cloud has been really really good for Raspberry Racers. I think like he's been a key man to that team, and I also think another person from there, Sky Reaper, has also been more valued to his team than Reaper, if I can put it that way.
Like Ripper's been popping off.
Yeah,
Scarippa's also been showing off a really good Zen.
Yeah.
But when we think about supports as role stars here, do we want to? Okay, I think we should separate into 3 role stars.
Right.
I think we need a Baptiste role star, a Zenyatta role star, and a Brigitte role star.
We can do that. I'm down.
So for Zenyatta, it's between Ripper and Scarippa.
Yeah, I think Sky Reaper on the Zenyatta, honestly. I just think Sky Reaper has been so good for Raspberry Racers. And again, I'm not saying anything that I'm not giving Reaper any hate. I think he's an insanely talented player. But I think like when you come to Raspberry Racers, you had Sky Reaper who did so well. And he also was the MVP candidate next to Hadi. We got to take that in consideration as well. So in my opinion, it's like it would be Sky Reaper, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, again,
I think Raspberry definitely wouldn't have got as far as they did if it wasn't for some consistent clutching from Scarippa.
100%.
I think that he just won fights that shouldn't have been won off the back of like not a lucky Zen headshot, but a well-placed Zen headshot. Yeah. When it comes to Baptiste, in my opinion, Exarath. But it's a bit of a wild card. But
okay.
I think Exarath was the most consistently impressive Baptiste to me throughout the season.
All right, yeah, I respect that. Honestly, there's so many good Baptiste, and I haven't I have like a lot of the Shoes Money Crew games. I was watching, but I was focusing on Sika. Like I love watching like Kisscan. Like Sika is one of my friends, and Psycho
Yeah.
as well. So I just wanted to pop off, but I really respect it. But the Brig though, because I feel like been a lot of good Brig players.
Yeah, we have had a lot of good brig play. Like Jofi's obviously all the way up there, but Jofi's also split time with some Lucio as well because British Hurricane have had the confidence to pull out more wacky strats like
Yeah,
some non-Brigitte dive, which is really really weird. Um, I'd say that the top two contenders for this one are Kara and Jofi, but as you guys know from earlier in the podcast, I do have a personal connection to Kara.
we could what we could do like because this is your like the whole squad, but I think if you give it to Kara, we can also say that I think Jofi has been the best main support all around.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
He's got the level
Yeah,
like where the average is the highest, like amongst the Baptiste, the Lucio, and the Mercy and the Brigitte as well.
Yeah.
Like Jovi across all of them is such a consistent factor that there is no comp that cannot be run by British Hurricane, and that's a huge boon for them. That's why I instantly picked the tank line of Morv and Hadi because they can pick up any tank line and be like, yep, we're fucking great at this.
yeah, yeah. Because like I feel like from British Hurricane, I feel especially now with Overwatch League, I feel like the main supports are one role that are like it's very close between each player in Overwatch League. I feel like there's a lot of main supports who are very close to each other. Right now, it's like Moth is like one of the best, but I feel like under there's a lot of main supports who are very equal. And I feel like Jofi, if he went in there, I feel like he would actually do a really really good job because he's so consistent. I haven't seen like under average performance like on his level for a while. I feel like he's been really really good on all of the heroes he play. But honestly, I could say that for every single British Hurricane player. Like I feel like Hadi and Malfig is one of the best tank
They're all
lines.
just consistently fantastic.
Yeah,
That's why they haven't lost.
exactly. Yeah, but I feel like Hadi and Malfig could be like imagine like picking Hadi and Malfig for Boston Uprising. Like what would those two players and one more one more player like just completely change it? Like I feel like they could go in any Overwatch League team and do an outstanding job. Yeah.
I highly agree.
Um,
I'm a big advocate of picking up tank lines instead of tanks.
yeah.
Like I like picking people up as pairs, just like to try and keep that rhythm that a tank line generates.
Yeah, like for example, with the Houston Outlaws, now with hydration on main tank. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like Muma is good. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sorry to all Muma fans.
Moomer is a average Winston.
Yeah, but I feel like the only problem with that is, for example, you have a lot of good tank lines. You have 30 Impact, you have D-Cut Icy, British Hurricane, you have Hadi Malfig. There's so many like good tank lines, but I feel like there's so many tanks that could do a good job, and I feel like the main tank is gonna be a lot of main tanks are gonna be picked up for Overwatch League next season. Maybe like offsting as well, but I feel like there's so many main tanks in Overwatch League who have been super disappointing and not up to standards with other main tanks. It's just my personal opinion. Of course, like there's a lot of other opinions, but I think for next Overwatch League season, we will see a lot of players retire from Overwatch League, and I will think we will see a lot of players from Tier 2 get picked up. And I'm crossing my fingers some of my friends from Tier 2 get picked up, for sure.
I think we will see a lot of retirements. I think that how stressful this year has been is really going to contribute to that. Like, this is definitely not the year that everyone was prepared for.
Nope.
Because everyone was as stressful as all the homestands would have been. It's more stressful to plan for a stressful situation and then get introduced to a worldwide pandemic instead.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that a lot of players are going to be like, yep, that I want to go home and see my family and I want to go do my studies because that last year was so freaking intense. Because, like, everyone being confined to their homes as well as introducing the hero pool system, like, it was good entertainment for Overwatch League. Like, I think as a product, it did a good job entertainment-wise, but in terms of player stress, it likely made it go through the roof.
Yeah, I would agree. And there's actually, like, there's one more question here with the contenders. And if there is, what was it? Yeah, if there's any player in Contenders that you're a big fan of, and haven't made Overwatch League, like who is it? Like who's your favorite player who hasn't made Overwatch League yet from Contenders?
Well, previously it was Kevster. I would commonly refer to on cast the
He's Smurfed
Church
in
of
Contenders.
Kevster Farah.
Yeah, he's
I'm
insane.
the biggest stan of the Kevster Farah. I think he's the best Farah duelist in the Western Hemisphere.
Honestly, I can probably agree with that. He's I'm gonna be honest. He's Smurfed in Contenders. Like he literally Smurfed
Yep.
in Contenders. And even though Gladiators hasn't done that well, so like right now in like the past 2 games, I still feel like Kevster can become one of the best placed players in Overwatch League for the next coming seasons. If he stays in Gladiators in Overwatch League, because previous year there've been a lot of rumors that he didn't want to join and so on and so on. But if he just stays the next few seasons, I feel like he can be top 2 DPS in the world. Like he's just so good.
So when it comes to the player that I
Mhm.
name here, should we have one who is 18 who could be put into the Overwatch League?
Let's take one that would be if it was like you had to take 18, but you can also take one that is underage.
Okay. I think for my over 18, I'll go for a wild card.
Yeah.
I think that hybrid is a grinder. I think
Ooh,
hybrid could
I respect
pop
it. I like his new team as well. Which team he joined? Team Doge.
He's on Doge.
Yes.
I didn't know that it was. They've got hybrid and speedily.
That is nasty. Yeah, it's insanely nasty. If like, of course, you have Kevster and Onigod, 2 of the best DPS now in Overwatch League, and then you get one of the most mechanical nuts players I've seen on his scan in hybrid and speedily and just insanely talented Doomfist with so much potential. And then like
Doge running season 2 again.
Yeah, like
unlucky North America.
Like fucking OG speedily in hybrid just running around in your backline. Oh, yeah. But also Fincy left the team. I'm no hit to Fincy. I think he's a great off tank, but I still feel like there's a lot. I hope to see some really really good off tank take the spot and just make this team into an even better team.
I think Rene from EXO is an up and coming off tank. I had never heard of him before maybe week 3 of Contenders.
Yeah, I've heard though.
Seems to be a cerebral player.
Yeah, I've heard though that he is unsure if he want to continue the path to pro, because he has school and stuff.
Wouldn't surprise me. Like
Yeah,
Rene is incredibly objectively intelligent. Like I think he's going to be studying chemistry at Oxford University.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And when you've got a position at Oxford, it
don't say no.
can be quite difficult to justify putting that on the back burner to follow esports in any capacity, whether you're going straight into OWL or not. And one of the things you have to think about for Rene's position is that he could do that and do Contenders and decide not to go to Overwatch League because that would interrupt a very valuable education. Or like you could go all in and then you'd have to give up something that is very, very valuable just for the rest of his life. And like even if he doesn't go into chemistry, the fact of the matter is with our world, having a degree from Oxford it opens so many doors that will last longer than an esports career will. Like an esports player career will last nowhere near as long. Like we're talking maximum maybe 6 years in Overwatch. Like we're getting people who thankfully are being kept while they are older players. Because I personally don't think, especially for tanks, that youth is a particularly important aspect compared to things like seniority, veterancy, and having a calming mind. But esports is also very volatile in that like you can live and die on the whims of fans and of occasional mismanagement.
Yeah. And one thing I'm actually hoping for is that you've seen in other games like CSGO, Dota, you see players at the start, it was like players retired after a few years, like 5-6 years in sport, like you said. But now there's people who are over 30 in some cases, in some games, who still play the game. And that's something I really hope that players can get older and older before they retire. And but like there's a lot of rumors that Overwatch League likes to pick up. Like if you're between 18 and 21 or 18 and 22, you have the biggest chance. If you're above, you have like a very little chance. And if those rumors are true, like it's very sad, but I'm hoping they're not, and I don't think they are. But I think it's very smart as well to have some veteran players, older, mature, more patient players in some teams.
The harsh reality is that it's a lot easier to market the 18 to 21-year-olds to the target demographic of the Overwatch League. Like, it's no secret with the programming on Disney XD, etc., that the sort of like 13 to 25 demographic is exactly where Overwatch League wants to place itself. And it's a bit harder to sell older players to younger fans.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And if there is one player that you're very happy to see in Overwatch League that is not Kevster, who would it be?
Proper. Proper from O2 Blast is the best player not in Overwatch League. And I think he's 16.
No, I meant if there's one player you were happy to see in Overwatch League who got picked up.
In Overwatch
yeah, that's why I
League.
said not Kevster, because I would like he would say Kevster.
Yeah.
Like for the for the past year of Contenders, there's one player who got picked up, and that you're really happy who got picked up. Who would it be?
Shockwave.
Oh, that's a good one. I agree with that. He's impressed me a lot.
Part of me was jealous. I loved casting Shockwave.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
And I got a really good week of casting Shockwave, and then they took him away from me.
Yeah, he's impressed me, and I think he's impressed like a lot of players as well, or players or teams or fans even. They picked up Suna, and Suna didn't do like that well on like for example Sombra. It was a lot of like, but again, I don't blame only him. I feel there was a lot of miscommunication. But I feel like the Shockwave pickup has just made a team, and not different players in like a rank game.
Like Shockwave supplies a team identity to Vancouver Titans.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like he's definitely a star player.
Wasn't really there.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of the star players. And we can definitely, you know what? Let's talk a little about Overwatch League. What do you think of Overwatch League so far this season?
I've really enjoyed it actually. As a content creator, it has been quite a boon to have the hero pools. I appreciate that there were a lot of problems with hero pools, and I think they could have been rolled out a lot better. I wish that it was 2-week hero pools from the start. But my particular brand of content is kind of toxic. I insult people a lot.
Okay.
I make low lights, and when it comes to shifting metas, that means people like make a lot more mistakes. So that was particularly good for my content, but I feel like it was a lot worse for player welfare. And the non-greedy part of me is like, we needed 2-week hero pools from the beginning. We needed usage stats to weight selection process from the beginning. Like, we needed tokens from the beginning, because it's great we have tokens now, and it's really bumped up viewership. But the thing is, if you had tokens from the start, then those viewers would be engaged. Because in my opinion, when you bring in the tokens and you watch the viewership go up, the percentage of those viewers who are engaged obviously goes down as you get the farmers in. But if you had tokens from the start, people are generally going to watch the broadcast the first time they put it on. Because they're like, fuck it, it's on in the background. I'll listen to it. And at the beginning of the season, that's when everyone is laying out the storylines. That's when you're really trying to get the lay of the land. But with people coming into token farm in the middle of the season, frankly, isn't that exciting. It's like things have sort of settled down. You have expectations, and it's cool to subvert those expectations. But those expectations aren't really as solid for people who've only just joined the ecosystem. So I think that the viewers who've come in to farm tokens now have a far smaller chance of being engaged as if they had come to farm tokens at the beginning of the season and then actually become engaged with like, hey, come and watch Overwatch League hype at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I also think the move from Twitch to YouTube kind of hit it as well, especially Contenders. I feel like they hit the viewership because if you scroll through Twitch, it's very easy to find Overwatch League and Contenders. But then if you scroll to YouTube, like when Overwatch League is live, I don't even get it on my home page. I have to like search in the search bar or on the left, I have to like scroll to find Overwatch League, where it's like some red dots. I think the visibility
Yeah.
to find live streams on YouTube is so bad compared to Twitch, which I also think hit the viewership. But it's getting there with the tokens. I feel like it's getting better. And I also feel like now the 2-week hero pool is much better than the 1-week hero pool. And especially the tournaments. I feel like they've needed like stage league tournaments. You had stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. But those were like, there was like 6 weeks of games before that or something like that. It was like a lot of weeks. But now you have 2 weeks with hero pools, 1 week without, and boom, you have like the showdown. It's like a much smaller period, and I think it gauges more fans because it's not this like 2-month thing. It's done within a month.
To be fair, I think the 2 month wasn't particularly bad. They've sort of like just condensed down the stage, but you're right that the tournament format is great, and that's kind of what we had before with the stages, except it was longer.
Yeah.
The problem was we didn't have stages or tournaments previously.
Yeah.
We were just sort of like playing into the void.
Yeah. I feel like when they said we're removing stages, I just got like, I was like, why the fuck are you removing stages? Like the one thing that's good with Overwatch like the past few seasons has been that you have stages because you have this hype to building up to a final. For example, like 2 teams, so maybe it doesn't play versus each other in that stage. Instead of waiting to the end of the season, for example, when they play, you have this stage where the 2 best teams in this certain meta play for this like extra money and like this build up. It's so much better than having this regular league format, and I really like them. I really like the additions of the tournaments, and I'm excited to see for the future. And I think also, like I said, the 2-week hero pool is also really really good. A good addition instead of the 1-week hero pool, and especially now as well with the brackets being no hero pool, so you have like much variety.
I think it's worth noting as well that we weren't supposed to be playing into the void when we had homestands and before everything had to shut down. There was going to be the mid-season tournament, which would have been like the goal that they're working towards. But obviously, when you have to cancel a tournament for a while, probably from like maybe April and May, we were sort of like playing into the void.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it was more March and April because May they finally outlined for May Melee, but we don't know what this is for. We're just playing games and like maybe something's gonna happen. Let's just play some Overwatch, bro.
Yeah, like legit, like the viewership on one of the games on NA games, it was like a perfect like EU at any time. It was like 25K. It's just so sad to see, but now it's getting better. It's getting better for sure. Yeah, let's go a little bit through the teams right now. So right now you have a lot of good teams. They're very close in the Asia region. In NA, not so much. You have Shock, who are just, my boys are Shock, just kind of a little
above
behind
right now.
Yeah, I feel like I was actually really hyped to see the Phil in the Shock match. I was expecting like a 3-1 maybe, or like a close match, but we like destroyed them completely.
Yeah, for our day of recording, that was yesterday, and I've never seen Carpe get cyberbullied. But on Ilios Lighthouse, he got to about 76% of a pulse bomb.
Yeah.
Of a pulse bomb.
Yeah,
at 100%. That is then, like a 122nd round? He only got about 20% ult charge from active damage. The rest of it was probably passive charge.
Yeah.
Because he was getting fucking ass blasted by Ans.
Yeah, honestly, like, when I saw Widow on Lighthouse, I was like, yo, are we trolling now? And then he goes up there and he just picks off Carpe again and again. Like, I'm gonna say it right now. Whoever found Ants is a fucking, like, insane scout. Because
that's why you send Krusty into Korea. He brings his recon plane, dude. He's got the UAV above.
Yeah, like legit.
Stacking down the talent.
Yeah, like legit. I like checked Ants. He was retired 26th of January 2019, and the Shock announced him in December. He was retired for a year. How the fuck did they find him? And how the fuck is he so insanely talented? Like, I don't think we've seen a Widow this consistently god tier in Overwatch League for a while. Like, sure, Carpe in his prime, insane. Pine in his prime, insane. There's so many good Widow players who in their prime was insane, but Ants has been in his prime for now almost a full season.
I mean, Ans was also streaming at the time, I think, during his retirement, and was building up a fair following from his skill there. So, Kefri, there is hope.
Oh, yeah, Kefri, what a legend.
If anyone's going for Brian St. Pierre, anyone wants to try and do the Western Ans?
Yeah, Washington, you guys should give him a tryout and see he lives near Washington. I remember
Corey
that tweet.
too, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, actually, if you go through the Overwatch League, one of the questions from Moon was, what are your power rankings from Overwatch League at the current moment? And you can go look at the teams if you just want to double check. But if you go to any region first, what will your teams be?
Right now, let me bring up a list.
I'm just gonna write down Shock already because we all know Shock is first.
Yeah, Shocker at the top.
Yeah.
At least for an A. Let's do an A first.
Let's do it.
And where are the teams? Here we go. Over in North America, we'll probably start off, of course, with San Francisco Shock, then a Tier Gap, and then Philly Fusion.
Okay.
And Philly Fusion, Paris Eternal.
Yeah, that's the one I think is really hard because I feel like last meta, like when Brig was bad and they're running Genji, they were just getting outclassed in some. Like, sure, they played against Boston, then against Shock, they looked horrible, and Valiant looked really good. And then they come against this match, and Tracer, the Ashe Tracer, is just getting outplayed by Sparkle with the Genji. I feel like it's pretty close between Paris and Valiant, but in this meta in particular, I actually agree with the Paris pick, for sure.
Yeah, I'd put Valiant just behind them.
Yeah.
And then probably bring out the Atlanta Reign. No, the Mayhem. The Mayhem over the Reign.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then we have the Rejects. I guess Gladiators is the best of them, but Gladiators is such a weird team in that they always seem to play to their opponents. They don't really have their own level, in my opinion. They just either play very well if they're against a good team, or they play like a bunch of toddlers if they're against a shit team.
Yeah, honestly, I would also put Outlaws up there. Like, especially when this meta, or last meta with the Ashe Tracer, they were insane. Especially, like Dante was nuts. Like, I wouldn't say they're like I wouldn't say they're like with May and Valiant, but I would say like Atlanta Reign, Gladiators, and Outlaws. I feel like there's a very little gap between them.
I worry about Outlaws in a non-defined meta scenario.
Alright.
Like, are they gonna have a Genji player?
That's
like
true.
they've got Linkser and they've got Blase, but neither of them is really like a high tier Genji.
Technically, they have hydration as well, but then you have Muma main tank, and nope.
But then you got to ask, like, okay, they're gonna play what, Ashe Tracer?
Yeah. True.
And if we reference the match that happened yesterday for us, Paris Eternal, the only map they lost against Los Angeles Valiant was when they got fucking cocky, in all honesty, and they played Ashe Tracer with Soon and Eggsy into Los Angeles Valiant. And you're not as good at Ashe Tracer as Los Angeles Valiant are, that's just a fact.
But I also feel like
you're not good.
The Eichenwald, Genji isn't that good on Eichenwald. I think that was the map. I feel like Ashe Tracer is strong.
I think it was Junkertown they played it.
Or Junkertown, no, yeah, that's what the map I meant. I feel like Genji's not as strong on Junkertown as the Ashe Tracer or the Widow Tracer.
Yeah, but it's kind of a litmus test of how powerful the Valiant double hit scan is. And you're not going to beat Mayhem at Ashe Tracer either, because BQB and Yaki are insane of those heroes.
Yeah.
And I also don't think you're going to beat Atlanta Reign at Ashe Tracer. But maybe I'm right. I can't remember the last time Houston played who they were against.
That was
slap recently. Was it Gladiators?
It was either, I know they played versus Gladiators and Mayhem. No, yeah, I think it was Gladiators. Didn't Houston win? Yeah, they did.
I think Houston beat Gladiators and they lost narrowly against Mayhem.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. Yeah, I think they lost like 3-2 or 3-1 against Mayhem. So we say number 6, Gladiators, Outlaws, or
I think Outlaws.
Outlaws?
I think it's so difficult. No, I put Atlanta Reign above because Atlanta Reign have both a good Ashe Tracer and a good Genji.
I agree. So then what? The Outlaws or the Gladiators?
then the Outlaws.
and then the Gladiators.
Yeah.
All right, and after that, you kind of have like the Pega teams.
The shit pile.
Yeah.
I don't know how to rank them. I actually put Vancouver Titans above Toronto and Washington.
Honestly, I think Vancouver's on an uprise for sure. Honestly, like, especially like I think they're number 9. But then you have like Dallas, who played good the last map, and then the last match, and then they played horrible against Vancouver. Toronto's looked garbage. Washington has looked horrible. What last game? No, that's them. Yeah, that's them. Those 3 teams.
So evidently we have Boston in last. We're not even bringing up Boston.
Yeah, fuck Boston. They're horrible.
But Boston are a write off.
Yeah.
I think I have Vancouver Titans because I also think that Vancouver Titans have a lot more room to grow than these other teams do as well, because they have been together for a lot less time. Like, what like growth as a team is exponential. Well, not exponential. It's the opposite. Like it starts really fast and then it peters off at the top because you're just working on like micro synergies then and then like strategic refinement. But I think that Vancouver is still in the stage where they are getting better by the day to a large degree. So I would put them above, and then I'd have Dallas. Dallas are a weird one because Dallas's tank line has a tendency to int its fucking brains out.
Agreed. Very agreed.
It is uncanny that sometimes Dallas will just go, you know what? I don't know how to play Overwatch today.
Yeah.
And they just are hard into the enemy. I think after that, I have to put Washington, because I just think they have slightly more hope than Toronto Defiant, for the same reason as Vancouver. They've still got a bit more time to come together.
Yeah, and then Boston at bottom.
Toronto have improved after that because they have got Numlocked, who's a bit of an improvement over Beast Halo, and they've got Cruz, but Cruz's power is still a liability forehead. And then, of course, for write-off, Boston Uprising.
Yeah.
For NA.
I honestly, I think that's a really good power ranking. I'm pretty sure I agree with a lot of that. But I like, thing is, with like, if Gladiators stop fucking around, like honestly, if the Gladiators just played like the Rhine with Elish Cloudy, they would be above Rain in my opinion. Like, I feel like if you had like a Rhine meta where Cloudy could just shine, I think they would be like a top 5 team, honestly, because they look so good with Cloudy. And then they come with OG and this double tank shit, and they just double shield tank, sorry, or like with the Orisa Sigma, and they just suck. I don't feel like
OG is very inconsistent.
Yeah, I don't feel like, again, I feel like OG has been a lot better this season. I don't feel like it's purely on him. But I just feel like when you bring in Electradi, you have like this whole, like you have just another level of insanity on Ryan. I feel like he just brings so much to the team as Reinhardt.
I think Kevster might supply a spark as well once he gets fully integrated. But obviously,
yeah, I agree.
Tracer specialization on ping is not great.
Nope.
Farah's in a fairly weak place now, especially with Echo. Like, she's just like shit Echo. And obviously that requires like even more resource investment as well, because you can play Echo with like the Brig, the Ana, the BAP if you want to. Whereas with Farah, like you like need the Mercy, and then you're giving up the huge utility of like the overarmor of Brigitte, or the speed boost, or the lamp or something. Or you're giving up maybe a Zenyatta, and then you don't have the Discord up for everyone to focus on. So I think that Farah is in a really weak place right now, and that has nerfed a couple of teams.
And the Asia region. Number 1, I think Shanghai.
Asia. I think Shanghai can be there if they actually start playing their main roster.
But I do. Number 2.
Please stop subbing out Legday Gone.
Yeah. But I definitely think number 2 is it's a well contested spot, because I think both New York and, no, I didn't pronounce this correctly, Guangzhou charge.
Guangzhou.
Yeah, Guangzhou. Yeah, they are pretty heavily contested the number 2 spot, because I feel like you saw the game, it was 2-3 to Guangzhou. I feel like that's a really good I think like, I hope to see them in like a semifinal or something, because that was actually a really good match in my opinion.
I think that was a really good match, and I know it's towing the line of who won, but in current meta, until the balance changes on PTR come through, if they do come through, I put Guangzhou Charge ahead.
I agree.
Because MYXL is refusing to play Mandu right now. And it feels like MYXL has this consistently revolving. NYXL. Oh man, I've got so many rants about NYXL. They, why do they bring in Sabiolby in a map 5 when he's not warm at all and he hasn't played the entire series?
Yeah.
To play Lijiang Tower, like just the ability of the people with authority in NYXL to make that decision casts NYXL at a lower power ranking for me because I cannot trust them to do the obviously correct thing. Like when there are obviously correct things, and then there are weird champ things, and you're doing the weird champ thing, I'm out here like I can't power rank you higher because I can't trust you. I can't trust you to meet the level which I know you can. And NYXL is also one of these teams that actually is so reliant on a map pool. I think they're going to do well in the Summer Showdown because it's loser picks map. I think that is a really good format for NYXL because they do well off of map picks because they can play to their strengths, like a Haxel Genji, like a Libero May. They can bring Nene out on the Widowmaker. They can try and avoid maps where they have to play Sabiolby, or if they're playing Sabiolby, they can go through a map rotation where they keep Sabiolby in rather than have a revolving door of fucking DPS.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So yeah, Shanghai, Charge, NYXL, and then who would you put there? Number 4.
Oh, now this is the difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I've got Chengdu Hunters in a hard last.
Agreed.
But Spitfire, Spark, and Soul.
I feel like they're very equal, but because I feel like all of them are inconsistent as shit. Do you just want to all put them at the same, or do you want to?
Like that is the clusterfuck of the Overwatch League right there. Those 3 teams. There is. Part of me just wants to put London Spitfire at the top because they finally got Babel where they want them. It looks like they're actually integrating Jihoon in a non-ball position. Like I think it was Volskaya Industries that they bought in Jihoon. I'm like, they're gonna play ball on Volskaya. I mean, he just played Orisa the entire time, which leads me to believe, knowing this team, that they are phasing out JMac, who I have previously thought of as a liability in favor of playing Jihoon as a main tank everywhere, because they didn't even play a second of ball on that map. So if you're bringing in Jihoon to just play Orisa, that to me signals an overall changing of the guard when it comes to the go-to main tank, and maybe they'll bring in JMac to play like Reinhardt or something. But Hangzhou Spark make their own points that they've got this clutch DPS line, and they've got Gushui, who's really good. I think Bebe is a liability for this team. I think Bebe is underperforming compared to where he needs to be. And then Seoul Dynasty. What do you do with fucking Seoul Dynasty? Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, sometimes Prophet just says, fuck you, I win.
Mm-hmm.
That is for Seoul Dynasty strategy, though. It seems like the Seoul Dynasty strategy is to wait for Prophet to go, fuck you, I win. Rather than winning as a team.
Yeah.
Like, I actually have to put Seoul at the bottom here because I think they have the worst strategic depth. But they are integrating Michelle now, which is good. Hangzhou are... No, they're just all in the same place, really.
Yeah, but honestly, I think I would say London, so Hangzhou, Seoul. That's my feeling right now.
I think that's my feeling, but I think Seoul can trend upwards with the introduction of Michelle that they did in their most recent game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with those. So that's our overseas rankings. I think they're pretty good. And before we end right now, let's just go through some questions from your Discord that didn't have that much to do with Overwatch League or Overwatch. There's some Overwatch League stuff there, but it's most a little bit about other stuff. And also for everybody again wondering why I'm on my phone, I'm doing a notepad here on my phone so I can timestamp it for the video. Easier to timestamp stuff. So if you could actually start with a really good one, if it's one thing you could say to yourself when you started casting, what would it be? And that's from Jay.
Slow down, don't rap.
Okay, I respect it. Yeah, that's actually a good answer.
Also, actually, maybe I would say think of it as theater. I think that as a caster, I have kind of made a niche for myself by having a bit of a dramatic bent in that I try to tell the story of the match as if it was like an epic Shakespearean story, because that's where my expertise is. I have a degree in English literature, so I've done a lot of Shakespeare in my time,
Mm.
and I try and let that flow into my casting when it comes to the pacing, towards the language that I use, how I would describe an event. I try to use a lot of metaphor and simile, um, and I think that don't copy people. Use your skills and turn that into your casting.
That's actually I respect that. I respect that. I respect that for sure. And then we have Benji, idiot. He can fucking every time I do something on Twitter, the first thing he posts is him killing me in a fucking lobby, scrim lobby of like him killing me on Lucio Asasario. Yeah, fuck you, Benji. Anyways, he asked, "What is your go-to McDonald's order?"
Ooh,
Mhm.
I've got two.
Okay.
I've got two. I sometimes I'm just feeling my nuggies. I order 20 chicken nuggets.
I've never tasted chicken nuggets in my life.
Uh, the other one is that I get 3 plain bacon double cheeseburgers.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan of sauce on burgers for some reason. Like, I don't. Weird tangent, but I don't like sauces on meats
Oh, okay.
because I like my meat to taste like meat. I think barbecue sauce is a travesty. I think if you want your meat to taste sweet,
Okay.
like, why are you getting your meat to taste sweet? You fucking child. Go and have some Haribo, bitch. This is a steak and it should taste like a steak. If you want it to taste sweet, go and have some ice cream. You absolute toddler of a person.
Yeah, like my go-to McDonald's order right now is like honestly I differ from every single game, no every single time a game, because first of all I've never tasted chicken McNuggets.
Also, every single game, you like get the order, like GG, see you later.
Yeah, but like I'm legit like when I go to McDonald's, all my friends are like, "Yo, I'm gonna get like a 5-piece chicken nugget or 6-piece chicken nugget." I'm like, "Dude, I've never tasted them. Are they good?" Because I'm scared if I eat one, they're gonna be suck, and then I'm like, I wasted food. What do I do? Like, but I'm gonna try one next time there. I've been told like that. I think I was with Noob Hunter as well, and he told me my go-to order is like with some chicken nuggets. I'm like, I've never tasted them. He's like, what? Taste them next time. So
Mate, nuggies are a way of life.
yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people say they're good. So I have to taste that. But for sure, I think it's like I literally just go plain, a large chocolate milkshake, 3 cheeseburgers with no pickles. Boom, done.
Ooh, we're both on a triple burger hype, except I go a little bit further with the plain. I don't
Yeah.
want the sauce either.
And
I'm like,
sometimes I also
fuck
go
up with the pickles, fuck
Yeah.
off with the sauce.
exactly. And sometimes I also go a little bit spicy with adding bacon.
Ooh,
But I also
bacon
have
double
fries.
cheeseburger.
I also have fries. It was a side.
I skip the fries. I get the double cheeseburger. I'm like, I'm
Okay.
going more in on the meat here.
I respect it. And then let's see what also was. Yeah, we can take this as a final question.
Alright.
And what changes would you make to what heroes to make them fit the meta or get out of the meta?
Oh, the meta thing makes it weird, but it's an FPS game.
Yeah,
Why is there a primary fire with a hard CC on it?
yeah, I agree. That's yeah, I agree with that. You know, let's just leave it there. People can imagine. Let's just leave it there.
Like, y'all know that I'm gonna go on a rant about this, but we do not have time for it.
Yeah.
So, a primary fire with a hard CC that pierces multiple people.
No.
No.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I would change Brigitte. I wouldn't actually get rid of over armor. I would make it that the over armor reflects 10% of a hero's maximum health. I think
Ooh.
that if you over armor Tracer, she would get 15 health. If you over armor a 200 HP hero, they get 20 health. If you over armor Reinhardt, because it reflects the larger hitbox, they'd get 50 health, or 60 for Diva, Wrecking Ball, and Roadhog. I think that that would make Brigitte a little bit more of a scalable healer to help tanks, as well as make the DPS less oppressive, because burning through 50 armor on a Tracer with such a small hitbox, when you consider that Reinhardt and Tracer get the same benefit from armor pack, but Tracer's hitbox is like maybe a tenth of the size.
Yeah.
I think that is why it doesn't scale well towards DPS.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, that's literally a thing I've actually seen on Reddit as well, and I actually think it's a good change, or it would be a fun change. I'm excited to see what this break change brings into the meta when we see it in Overwatch League. And if it comes on live servers, hopefully it does. But I just feel like the brig we have right now is just no. I just don't like it. Yeah.
I mean, as a Tracer player, it's fairly fun, but then I play Zen, and I'm like, why does Tracer need 3 entrants to kill her now?
Exactly. But again, thank you so much, Legday, for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure having you here. I hope you guys all got questions answered. Sorry if we couldn't answer all of them. Time is gone really quickly. But if you guys want to see Legday back in a future episode, maybe for example when Overwatch 2 comes out or after the next contender season, focus for example more on one of those topics. Let me know in the comments and leave a like, share with your friends. Let me know who to bring on the podcast next. Of course, check out all of Legday's socials in the description, as well as mine. Anything you want to say before we end?
Check out my YouTube videos, they're funny.
Well, hope you have a good day, guys. See ya.